Buddy, we are set to start the Duel 3. I'm Sean Woodland alongside former Affiliate Cup champion Adrian Conway. We got Kiki Dixon down on the competition field. The Duel 3, what are the keys here, Adrian?
Oh man, this is going to be an amazing event. They're going to go up and over the log and over the log, and then of course they're going to get an opportunity to put the sandbags into that teeter for time. The keys here are to go fast and take chances. They've got to be willing to be aggressive, especially early in this race, to establish a time that's going to allow them to advance forward. And then as they get to the bag, they've got to scoop and go. We're going to see from a lot of the athletes are going to lap it and extend the hips rapidly to try to drop it into that teeter as quickly as they can. Not a lot of time for fumbling around.
Here are the overall standings coming into this event. Tia Toomey trailed by 5 points heading into the 10th inning. She now leads by 60. 375 points after the event win in the 10th inning. Laura Horvath drops to second. Emma Lawson has moved up to third, and it's Emma Carey and Gabby Magawa. The top 5 women in the standings will get a bye into round number 2. Second page of standings is all of these women will be on the field here in round number 1. The top 10 times will advance into round 2 to join the 5 athletes who got a bye. And once again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. There's been some Wi-Fi issues here at Dell Diamond. Working through that, we have that sorted out, and now the athletes who will be in the opening heat are set to take the field. First 5 women out. Shelby Neal, Danny Spiegel, Paige Powers, Kyra Milligan, and Karin Freyova. Paige Powers has a chance to do some damage here.
Yeah, I really think she does, Sean. I think that she's an athlete that we've had our eye on throughout the course of this weekend, kind of waiting for her to allow us to notice and feel her presence. I think this is an event where she'll have an opportunity. Not that she's played a bunch of field sports. She kind of grew up with the swimming and diving background, but she is strong and she is fast, and we know that she's got some experience building momentum this year through winning Wodapalooza, so she knows what it takes to come out on top in a particular event like this.
3, 2, 1, go! And here we go.
Over, under, over, and then 3 bags into the teeter. Danny Spiegel is way out front. She's going to be the first woman to the 3 150-pound sandbags. Now here comes Neal, Powers, Milligan, and Freyova. Spiegel's got 2 in. Final bag for Spiegel. She's got to touch that box. Her time will end right around 24 seconds. We'll see who comes in second. It's going to be Paige Powers, followed by Neal and then Freyova. That was close between the 2 of them. Or pardon me, Milligan and then Freyova coming across the finish. Danny Spiegel wins that heat, top 10 times moving on, and she was way out front early.
Sean, she had a clean run right out the gate. What I loved most about that is the aggressive way that she attacked that log. From the moment that she approached that thing, it was like gangbusters. That's exactly what we talked about, though. We talked about that being important. Go fast and take chances early. The over, under, over is going to decide how fast you can open up and turn to sprint across the field, which gave her a huge advantage once she got to the bag.
The official times are being kept on the field. And again, the top 10 times from this opening round will move on. First of 3 heats, and it's Danny Spiegel, right around 24 seconds, who has the top time. Let's take one more look. As Spiegel was the first through the logs and had no problem with those bags.
Yeah, and Spiegel's on the far side of our field, so it's going to be hard to get a shot of her. As you see her dashing away from the remaining 4 athletes that are just eating her dust as she makes her way across the floor. She got to the sandbag a whole 2 seconds ahead of everyone, and we knew she would have no problem with the 150-pound sandbag getting it over that 44-inch teeter there, and she's all smiles all the way through the finish. That is a great time to establish a start.
1 heat down, 2 to go in this opening round. Again, the top 5 athletes in the overall standings get a bye into round number 2. Now, originally, there was supposed to be a rope climb in this event after the over, under, over. Because of the chaotic weather, they decided to lose that portion of the event. There is Danny Spiegel. comes in to this event in 17th place overall. The third place finish in the circus to close out day number 2. Then started this morning with a 20th and 10th inning. Heat 2, Rolf, Brandon, Gazan, Semenza, and Elena Karatala Sanahuya will be the next 5 women out. We know Alex Gazan is someone who has little trouble with heavy implements. If she can get to those bags early in this heat, she has a chance to advance.
She does. I think she's got a great chance to have a really, really strong time to start this event here. Of course, all these ladies in their mind are thinking, hey, I've got to make sure I'm a top 10 time. And we could perhaps see all 5 of these women advance, right? So it's not just about the left to the right. You've got to maximize whatever you can do when you can do it. I think this is a great chance to see how well Alex Gazan gets to seize the moment in a very short sprint-based event like this one.
30 seconds.
Which she's going to have her work cut out for her against this lineup here. Danielle Brandon, we know, has a track and field background as well, coming out of Sac State. So she's not in unfamiliar territory when she gets to turn and sprint and perhaps even go over a hurdle or 2.
Representing the Fighting Hornets, the Sacramento State University. Danielle Brandon in 12th place overall with 185 points. Her best finish was a 7th in Texas Heavy.
3, 2, 1, go.
Second heat is underway, and Karatala Sanahuya got a bit of a jump there on the start. Paige Semenza got hung up a little bit coming over the log. Danielle Brandon first to the bag along with Alex Gazan. They both have the first bag in. Emily Rolfe loaded her first bag in. Final bag for Brandon and Gazan, and it's going to be Gazan and Brandon, followed by Paige Semenza. Rolfe and Sanahuya across at the same time as well. We will wait for the official times. The second heat is done with 1 heat remaining. Top 10 times moving on. And it looks like Alex Gazan edged out Danielle Brandon to the finish.
Yeah, that was a photo finish, we'll say the least. I saw who I had my eyes on, though, was Paige Semenza. She started quickly up and over the hurdle, and it took a nasty spill as she chose to literally hurdle over those things. And she was still able to close the distance on Alex and Danielle, even as she made up the ground to allow herself not to finish too far behind the leader. Danielle looked like she was the first one to the bags, but I think Alex got her and edged her out on the way to the box.
So unofficially for Gazan, 25.8 seconds. Danielle Brandon, 26.01. Looks like Danny Spiegel still has the top time, but Paige Semenza going over that log like she was on a line change back at Ohio State. And got hung up. Hopefully she's okay with 1 heat remaining now. And here are the times. Paige Semenza takes 3rd in that heat. Elena Karatala Sanahuya, just under 30 seconds, and Emily Rolfe at 30.24 seconds.
Now, for me, from a gaming perspective, I'm thinking, if I'm Paige Semenza, that strategy was paying off until she took the spill. So on the next time she gets an opportunity to take the floor, does she run it back? Does she still take that same type of risk and go over the log with 2 feet at the same time, kind of using that sidearm as a hurdle? Or do you kind of roll over the top of the log, which we've seen most of the athletes do up until this point? But right before she took that spill, she was in a great position.
So 1 heat remains in this opening round. Laura Horvath, who is currently in 2nd place in the overall standing, so she gets a bye into round number 2. Here are the athletes in this final heat. Manon Enganez will be in lane number 1. Lowen is next to her, followed by Lauren Fisher, Christine Kohlenbrander, and Bethany Flores.
Christine Kohlenbrander is an athlete that I got my eye out here in this particular heat. She's athletic and she's strong. She makes no doubt when it comes to picking obstacles up from the ground. We'll see her, of course, get an opportunity to do that later this evening with the deadlift, but I think she's going to make really fast work of the sandbag off the floor and into the teeter. So I'll be interested to see how she sets that up coming over these logs.
Bethany Flores leading the athletes out to the field, 10th place overall. Has 3 finishes inside the top 10. Her best was a 6th in Texas Heavy on Thursday. And there is Christine Kohlenbrander, currently in 8th place overall, coming off a 6th place finish in 10th inning earlier today. So far, Danny Spiegel unofficially has the top time, right around 24 seconds.
3, 2, 1, go!
We are underway. All the athletes getting over the first log, under the second, and over the third. And in lane 5, Bethany Flores on the outside. In the middle of the field is Lauren Fisher. She was the first to the bag. Flores is going to be the last woman to get her first bag in. It's going to be tight in the middle of the floor between Lowen, Fisher, and Kohlenbrander is going to be first. Lowen is second. Manon Anganese looks to be third. Fisher was fourth, and Bethany Flores now coming across in fifth. Lauren Fisher getting hung up a little bit on the bag, allowed Manon Anganese to overtake her. Christine Kohlenbrander takes that heat and looks to advance to round number 2.
And it's been interesting too, Sean, what we've seen so far. It's not necessarily that you got to be the first one to the bag, but you got to be close, right? If you're not there close to the person that's leading the way, you're not going to have an opportunity to close the gap. And what we saw here was just that from Christine Kohlenbrander, is that she wasn't the first over the logs. She wasn't the first to put her hands on the sandbags, as we see, of course, Lauren Fisher being athlete number 1 to get there. But what can happen is that you start to hip those sandbags, and not all of the transitions end up being so clean, which is what we saw here from fumbling from Lauren Fisher, which allowed her the opportunity to kind of lose that lead that she had initially going into sandbags, and Christine Kohlenbrander captured that moment right when she needed to take that heat win.
First round is done. We'll wait for the scores to be tabulated. Bethany Flores is going to be in trouble at 32.38 seconds. Christine Kohlenbrander and Ariel Lowen look to be safe, as they are the top 2 in that third opening heat. Manon Anganese puts up a time at 27.22 seconds, and now they will figure out who the 10 athletes are who will join the 5 athletes who got a bye in round 2.